Ethan had never believed that life could be quiet and loud at the same time. Quiet outside, loud inside. That was how it always felt whenever he stood in the workshop on the planet Valoria. The world outside was peaceful, filled with tall lavender trees and silver grass that shifted like waves. The sky was soft blue in the day and deep violet at night, glowing with 3 moons that moved slowly across the sky like watchful eyes. It was a calm world, a world where people rarely shouted, rarely rushed, rarely broke anything, but inside Ethan's heart there was always noise. Thoughts that spoke too fast, feelings that echoed too loudly, questions that had no answers, and all of it came from one person, Princess Lorena. He was only a human engineer, a visitor from Earth. He was not a soldier, not a leader, not a man who changed history. He fixed things, machines, communication towers, power grids. When something did not work, he made it work. That was his simple life. Many Valorians respected him for that, but no one really knew him, except maybe her. Princess Lorena had a way of walking into a room without making a sound yet filling it completely. Her presence was calm, like soft music that you only noticed after it was gone. She was graceful, tall with light silver skin that shimmered in sunlight like water. Her hair looked like flowing starlight. But Ethan did not fall in love with her beauty. He fell in love with her patience, her kindness, her quiet curiosity when she asked questions about Earth, about humans, about things that others would ignore. She had visited his workshop almost every week for 5 years. At first, he thought she came for official reports. She was the princess, after all. She checked on every department in the royal fleet. But he soon noticed something strange. She did not ask many questions about his work. She asked about him. "Did you sleep well?" she would ask. "What do humans do when they miss home? Why do humans write songs about sadness?" Her voice was always soft like a warm blanket. It was never rushed, never demanding. She listened to every answer he gave, even if it was simple, even if it was foolish. At first, Ethan answered carefully. He did not want to make mistakes. Valorians had different customs, different ways of speaking. He was always afraid he might say something rude without knowing, but with time he stopped worrying. With her, words came easily. He laughed when she tried to understand Earth jokes. He explained why humans watched sunsets for no reason. He told her about children on Earth who played in the rain just to feel alive. Sometimes she would close her eyes and imagine it. "I wish I could see rain," she once said. "Valoria has no storms, only soft mist. I want to know what thunder feels like." Ethan smiled and said, "It's loud, but it makes you feel small. In a good way. Like you are part of something greater?" "Exactly." They stood in silence after that, both smiling for no reason. It was moments like that which made him fall deeper. Not fast like lightning, slow like sunrise. Day by day, visit by visit, smile by smile, but he never told her. He never dared. Valorian culture was different. Humans confessed love with words. Valorians confessed love with devotion. They believed love was not spoken. It was shown through action. A Valorian would never say, "I love you," unless they were ready to bond forever. A bond on Valoria was not like human marriage. It was deeper. It was permanent. Once bonded, they shared life energy. They felt each other's emotions. They could not hide anything. They became one soul in 2 bodies. To confess without certainty was seen as reckless, even dangerous. A broken bond could damage both hearts. Ethan did not want to risk hurting her. So he kept silent. He chose to stay by her side quietly rather than lose her completely. But silence is a heavy thing to carry for 5 years. He thought he could continue like that forever. But everything changed on the night of the royal celebration. Every year, Valoria celebrated the Day of Unity, a festival that marked peace between all regions of the planet. Lights filled the sky. Floating lanterns drifted like glowing birds. Music filled every street. People danced in circles, holding hands. It was a celebration of connection. Ethan did not plan to attend. Large crowds made him nervous. He preferred quiet corners, but Princess Lorena herself invited him. "You will join us," she said gently. It was not a question. It was not an order. It was a request, and he could never refuse her. So he wore the formal robe provided for him by the royal tailor, a soft blue garment with silver patterns that represented harmony. He stood among the crowd watching people laugh and dance, but he felt out of place. He always did at public gatherings until she appeared. Princess Lorena wore a gown of flowing white silk, glowing faintly under the lantern light. Her hair was braided with crystal threads that sparkled like morning dew. People bowed as she passed. She bowed back with grace, and then she walked straight toward Ethan. "You look uncomfortable," she said softly. "I am trying not to be," Ethan admitted. Her smile was kind. "Come with me." She took him away from the noise, away from the crowd, guiding him through a path lined with crystal lamps. They entered the royal gardens, where flowers glowed softly in shades of blue, pink, and violet. The air smelled like fresh fruit and blooming petals. Tiny floating lights danced above the water ponds like fireflies. Ethan felt his heart calm. They walked slowly, saying nothing at first. The silence between them was not heavy. It was gentle, like a soft blanket over both of them. After a while, Lorena stopped beside a pond and looked at her reflection. Her voice was quieter than usual. "Soon I will take the throne." Ethan turned to her. "You are ready?" She shook her head slightly. "I do not fear the duty. I fear the loneliness." His chest tightened. She continued. "Everyone sees me as a princess, a leader, a symbol. But sometimes I wonder, does anyone see me as just Lorena? Someone who laughs? Someone who makes mistakes? Someone who wants companionship?" Her voice trembled on the last word. Ethan could not breathe. She was not just talking. She was confessing something deeper, something raw, something real. He wanted to say something comforting, something wise, but all the carefully chosen words he usually used disappeared. His heart spoke before his mind could stop it. "I have loved you for years." The words escaped like a breath he had been holding forever. Lorena froze. Her reflection in the water stilled. Her eyes widened slowly, not in anger, not in disgust, but in disbelief, like someone hearing a song they never expected. The air felt still. Even the floating lights paused as if waiting. Ethan's heart pounded painfully. He realized too late what he had done. Humans confessed with words. Valorians confessed with action. His words could be seen as reckless, too forward, too childish. He wanted to take them back. To apologize. I did not mean to make you uncomfortable," he said quickly, stepping back. I only wanted you to know that you are not unseen." He turned slightly, ready to retreat. But a soft sound stopped him. She laughed, not loudly, not mockingly, a soft, breathy laugh, like someone who had been holding their own secret too long. Ethan turned back confused. She looked at him, her eyes gentle but bright with something new. "You foolish human," she whispered. His heart dropped. He thought she was mocking him, but she stepped closer. "Do you think I visited your workshop every week for reports?" Ethan blinked. I thought..." She shook her head with a tender smile. "Valorians do not spend time without reason. I chose to be near you." Again and again. For 5 years, he stared at her stunned. His brain tried to connect the truth he had ignored. Every long conversation, every shared silence, every time she lingered even when her duties called elsewhere. "You cared?" he said weakly. "I cared deeply," she answered. His breath caught. She raised her hand gently and touched his cheek with the back of her fingers. Her touch was warm, tingly. He felt his chest grow light and heavy at the same time. "I did not speak," she continued softly, "because I was waiting for you. Humans speak their hearts. Valorians show them. I wanted to understand your way first." His throat tightened with emotion. She stepped even closer, looking into his eyes with quiet sincerity. "And now, you have spoken. So I will answer." The garden around them glowed brighter as if responding to the moment. The floating lights swirled slowly like stars moving in rhythm. Ethan's hands trembled slightly. He was afraid and hopeful at once. The weight of 5 years lifted off his chest, replaced with a strange, joyful uncertainty. Princess Lorena smiled gently and whispered, "I have loved you in silence. Now I will love you in truth." Ethan could not speak. His eyes burned. His heart raced. The world around them felt unreal, like a dream finally allowed to breathe. The night did not end with a kiss. Valorians did not rush. They stood there facing each other, both shaky and calm. Both strangers and soulmates at once. And in the quiet, under the glowing moons, 2 hearts that had been silent for too long finally began to speak. without words. Ethan did not sleep that night. Not because he was restless, but because his heart refused to calm down after what happened in the garden. He lay awake in his room within the royal residence, staring at the ceiling made of crystal tiles that slowly changed colors with the night sky. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face. The moment she whispered that she had loved him in silence. The moment she touched his cheek so gently it was almost unreal. For 5 years he had trained his heart to stay quiet, to hold back every emotion, to pretend he was only her friend. Now that silence was gone. His heart was free, and yet uncertainty came with freedom. What did this mean for them now? What happened next? Valorian customs were different from human customs. Would she expect him to do something? Would she declare it officially? Would others accept it? He was still thinking when morning light entered his room through the transparent curtains. He heard soft footsteps outside his door. A knock followed. "Ethan," a soft voice called. It was her. He stood up so quickly he almost tripped over the blanket. He fixed his robe and opened the door. Princess Larina stood there, not in royal gown but in a simple dress made of soft gray fabric. Her hair was loosely tied and she held no jewelry. She looked peaceful, natural, more real than ever. "Good morning," she greeted with a gentle smile. "Good morning," he replied, trying not to stare like a fool. "Walk with me," she said. He nodded. They walked through the quiet palace halls as servants bowed respectfully but did not speak. Valorians were observant. They could sense changes in energy. Some of them looked at Ethan with curiosity. Some with quiet approval, none with judgment. That calmed him slightly. They exited the palace and entered the open balcony that overlooked the city below. White stone buildings reflected the morning light like seashells. Floating ships moved silently between the tall towers. The breeze was cool, carrying the scent of sweet fruit. They stood side by side, watching the city without speaking. For once, silence was not heavy. It was warm. After a moment, Larina spoke softly. "Do you regret what you said last night?" Ethan turned to her quickly. "No, never. I only regret not saying it sooner." Her eyes softened. "Then I want to give you an answer. A proper one." He held his breath. She turned to face him completely. In Valorian tradition, when two hearts choose each other, they must complete 3 steps before a bond is fully accepted. He listened carefully. "First," she said, "they must speak their truth under the open sky. Not in secret, not in darkness, but in daylight where nothing can hide." He nodded slowly. "Second," she continued, "they must share a memory. Not a story, a memory. Something deeply personal. Something that shaped their heart." Ethan's chest tightened with emotion. "Third," she whispered, "they must hold hands and walk forward. Not backward, not staying still, but forward, as proof that their paths are now one." She paused, watching him carefully. "If we complete those steps together, Ethan, then I will no longer be only Princess Larina. I will be your chosen, and you will be mine." His heart almost burst. He nodded slowly, his voice shaking when he spoke. "Then let us begin." She smiled gently, and the morning light made her eyes shine like silver water. They walked down the long stairs that led to the plaza below the palace. It was still early. Only a few people were there, mostly vendors preparing their stalls. Sunlight touched the white stones of the plaza, creating soft reflections. Larina stopped in the center. Ethan stood beside her. She looked up at the sky. He did the same. Then, without hesitation, she spoke clearly, her voice echoing gently in the open space. "I, Larina of Valoria, speak my truth. I have loved this human for many years. His presence gave me peace. His words gave me warmth. His silence gave me understanding. I choose him." Ethan felt tears in his eyes. It was not loud, not dramatic, but it was the strongest confession he had ever heard. He swallowed his emotions and spoke, keeping his voice steady. "I, Ethan of Earth, speak my truth. I loved her quietly because I was afraid. But silence is no longer enough. I choose her." A few early passers-by paused, watching silently, not with shock, not with gossip, but with quiet respect. Larina turned to Ethan. "One step complete," she whispered. He nodded. Now came the second step. She looked at him softly. "Share a memory." Ethan took a slow breath. His heart raced. There were many memories he could choose. But he knew which one mattered most. When I first arrived on Valoria, he began, I was lonely. Everyone was kind to me, but I still felt like a stranger. I thought no one would understand me. One day I was repairing a broken scanner near the river. I was frustrated, tired. I dropped my tools and sat down on the ground. And then you appeared. She listened quietly. You did not speak at first, he continued. You just sat beside me. You did not ask what was wrong. You did not try to fix it. You just stayed. That was the first time I realized I was not alone. That moment changed my life. It made me believe I could belong here. Lorena's eyes glistened. My turn, she said softly. When I was younger, people expected me to speak perfectly, to act perfectly, to decide perfectly. I carried that weight every day, until I met you. You did not treat me like a symbol. You did not speak to Princess Lorena. You spoke to me. Just Lorena. That was the first time I felt seen. That is my memory. Their voices trembled, but their hearts felt lighter. 2 memories had been shared. 2 souls had been opened. Now came the third step. Lorena extended her hand slowly. Ethan looked at it, then at her face. Without hesitation, he placed his hand in hers. Her fingers curled gently around his. Forward, she whispered. They took 1 step, not backward, not sideways. Forward. Sunlight wrapped around them like a blessing. People nearby paused again, watching with soft smiles. Some placed their hands over their hearts in Valorian sign of blessing. A child holding his mother's hand pointed and whispered, They are bonding. The mother smiled and nodded quietly. Lorena and Ethan kept walking. Not far, just a few steps. But in Valorian law, distance did not matter. Direction did. They stopped after a while, still holding hands. It is done, Lorena said softly. Ethan looked at her. His eyes were warm, relieved, overwhelmed. Then we are bonded? She smiled gently. Not yet fully. A bond is complete when both hearts rest without doubt. Today we began. From now on we walk together. Every day, until there is no space left between us. Ethan nodded slowly. I have waited 5 years. I can wait the rest of my life. She squeezed his hand gently. You will not wait alone anymore. They returned to the palace hand in hand. The servants saw them. The guards saw them. No one questioned. The bond was visible, quiet, strong. Throughout the day, Ethan stayed near Lorena as she attended her duties. She met advisors. She reviewed trade documents. She listened to reports about energy flow across regions. Normally, she did all this alone. But today, she asked him to sit beside her. He did not speak unless needed. He only sat calmly, but his presence changed the air around her. She was still a princess, still a leader, but now she was also a woman with someone beside her, not a guard, not a servant, a chosen heart. In the evening, when duties were completed, Lorena led Ethan to a quiet balcony overlooking the mountains. The sky was orange and pink, slowly fading into violet. Ethan sat beside her on the stone bench. She leaned slightly, resting her shoulder against his. They watched the sky change colors. After a long silence, she spoke softly. Ethan, yes? Will humans accept this? He smiled faintly. Some will. Some won't, but I do not care about some. I only care about us. She nodded slowly. He looked at her profile, glowing in the soft twilight. Will Valorians accept this? He asked. She smiled gently. Some already do. Some will need time, but I am their future queen. If I choose with honesty, they will follow with trust, he nodded. Then we are not against the world, she shook her head. No, we are with it, together. Ethan felt peace wash over him, a peace deeper than any words. He turned to her slowly. Lorena, she looked up at him. He raised his free hand and gently brushed a strand of hair from her face. Thank you, he whispered. For what? She asked. For choosing me. Her eyes softened. I did not choose you today, she said gently. I chose you long ago. Today, I only said it out loud. He smiled. They sat there until the stars came out, until the sky was full of light, until the world was quiet again. This time, the quiet outside matched the quiet inside. 2 hearts. No longer silent, no longer waiting, just living together.